Hi Carly, after seeing your application, Kate and myself would like to answer a few questions about your credentials in teaching writing. We'd like to hear an example of how you have identified a problem or challenge in a child's writing and devised a learning strategy to help them improve their skills.
Well, in my first placement, I came across a child who was in grade 5 and had the reading and writing capacity of a grade 2. I didn't feel that his teacher was putting enough focus on him, and I felt he fell under the radar a lot of the time. For example, I seen him reading the same book that I had seen him read from front to back for a whole week. The book was the same level for grade 2s, and he was not moving on. He was stuck at the same level because he could not push himself. He needed the teacher to do so. I found the teacher blamed his lack of literacy ability on his travels for months on end overseas to a non-English speaking country, and therefore I felt like he was put onto a hard basket. I set a goal for myself to make sure that I helped this student to the best of my capabilities. So I discovered that he was a visual learner and incorporated this in my teaching methods. I also bought him a notepad and developed the Old Way and the New Way program, which improved his spelling. And I also paid attention to him when the class undertook writing tasks. I sat next to him and we went through it together. And every time I found a misspelt word, we would write it the new way, spelling the word together. He took the notepad, practiced at home, and the greatest feeling was when he wrote one of the words he usually misspelt correctly in another writing piece, so we were able to cross it off the list.
Are you aware of our school's literacy program and goals? How did you become aware of them?
Well, I'm aware of your literacy programs and the goals. I have researched your school's website, and I'm also lucky enough to be friends with a parent that has a child that goes to your school. This gave me an insight to your program and the skills I needed to achieve these high expectations.
What possibilities do you see for using ICT in the teaching of writing?
One worry I have with the integration of ICT within schools is that students will lose the art of writing and how important it is. In my personal experience, I have noticed a lot of the time a good copy of a story or article would be typed up on the computer, whereas all the drafts would be handwritten. Books started out as beautifully handcrafted and handwritten, and I hope to use ICT to not only use the use of typing and all the resources that can be accessed through a simple program such as Word, but I also want to make students still understanding just how important the art of writing is. There are applications such as ABC Cursive Writing that turns an iPad into a writing tablet where students can practice their cursive writing. I Can Write is also another good one. It's an application that allows the user to trace letters, and also Sentence Builder, which encourages the students to write grammatically correct sentences using visual stimuli, and the uses are endless. I also like to use newspapers and articles and also cartoons for the students, capturing their attention, and can teach them how to write in a certain genre. The newspapers are accessible through the State Library of Victoria, as easy as becoming a member.
Have you had any experience or preparation how best to teach ESL children?
I haven't yet been able to experience with an ESL student, but I have researched effective ways in teaching these students, so I'm well prepared to give the best opportunities for my students. I'm well prepared to give the best opportunities for students because I use a lot of resources. I could find that they came straight out of Ausval's website, which gives a list of teaching strategies under the areas of speaking and listening, reading and writing.
How do you think an inability to write adequately would influence a person's life?
An adult's inability to write adequately makes things that we take for granted, like being able to fill out forms and write down shopping lists, extremely difficult, and they may feel unable to seek help as they feel embarrassed, and as most assume that if you're an adult, you can read and write. This would affect them, especially when they obtain a job and they need to fill out tax-in forms or write resumes. Most employers would associate their inability to write with their intelligence and may even deem them not right for the job. The person could feel unmotivated and unconfident with themselves, this causing personal and psychological problems later down the track.
What are your own experiences and accomplishments in writing?
Well, I've always been great at writing creatively and in narrative. However, I tend to struggle in writing large slabs of formal text like essays. The writing I'm most proud of as I've grown into adulthood are my poems. I tend to write poems in notes and cards for my friends and family, and there is never a white spot on a birthday card once I've got to it. When I was younger, I was also marked high for my stories and creative writing pieces. One piece I wrote in particular remains in my mind as the teacher showed it to another because they thought it was so good. A builder needs a brick to build a house, just like a poet needs a heart to write his poems. I also continued my writing in year 11 and 12 through literature and also debating, as I was always good at speaking my mind and my opinion on a topic.
Are you aware that there's been a significant change in the writing task this year?
Yes, I am. I've looked at the NAPLAN website and I am aware that the new writing task is now in the persuasive writing genre. To make sure I am well equipped in teaching this context of writing, I've been touching up on my skills on how to teach students persuasive writing. I found useful ideas from the Reading Rockets website, which included a group activity on sharing pieces of persuasive writing with a student and then letting the student find a privilege that they would like to have and then create 3 reasons why they should have it. The students then use their reasons in a letter to the person they are trying to convince. The activity also includes a range of persuasive phrases that can be introduced to the students. I've also found examples of previous persuasive writing, a good way to help children understand the concept of writing persuasively, and I can obtain these from the NAP website. I've also found an old video series, the text files, and an episode on that which is specifically on persuasive writing. It's not only engaging, but it focuses on the idea of retail and advertisements as persuasive.
Thank you, Carly, for your time. We look forward to getting back to you about how your interviews have gone.